Hi, I'm Melissa Wright. Today I'm going to talk about how I finished making Inside Writer's Head in only 2 weeks. That doesn't finish the publishing process because I'm still in the middle of that, but that is how long it took me to have the manuscript ready for publishing. I actually started making Inside Writer's Head back in March of this year, and when I did it, I mentioned in my previous video about organizing and formatting poetry collection that I made the mistake of trying to organize the poems while I was picking the poems that were going to go in the collection, and that I didn't realize at the time what a problem that was going to be and how that was going to impede my progress in reorganizing and really getting the collection the way I wanted it to be. Started in March. I collected the poems into the same document at that time, and then there were a couple times, I think in like April and then again in July, that I looked at it and I was trying to think, what do I do? How can I move things around? How can I reorganize to fix it? I felt really stuck and I wasn't sure how to take it from where it was, which I knew wasn't what I wanted, to a place where I was happy with the collection. I wasn't sure what to do. I also wasn't sure even what like a viable option was or how to make progress at all. So then more recently, in the middle of October, I reached out to one of the advisors at Praxis, Hannah Frankman, who's in charge of Module 1. I asked her during an advising call about finishing the poetry collection for my project this month, and she said that she didn't think that was a good option and that it would probably be better to finish the collection before November and then spend the month marketing it as my project instead of finishing it and marketing it as the same month in the same month as the same project. And so she suggested I talk to Brian Nichols and Austin Batchelor. So I talked to them about it. They said the same thing. So I was like, okay, I have 3 weeks to finish this. I need to format the collection, organize it, and like have the cover and everything ready and submitted so that I'll have it in time. Didn't end up having it in time. I had it ready early, but I didn't get it. I still haven't gotten it yet. I got the proofs, but I don't have a published collection yet. Starting out, going and being like, oh gosh, I have 3 weeks to do this, to take it from the mess that it is now to published. That's insane. It felt really hard, and it was really hard. It wasn't as hard as I thought it was, though. It actually ended up being way easier than I expected. It seemed impossible. Like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this in 3 weeks? I wasn't able to do it for months, and I'm going to do it in 3 weeks now. That's insane. I knew that I was stuck, and I read through the collection as it was then, and I was like, okay, so I need to finish this. I'm going to spend time doing this, focusing only on this project until it's done. The main thing I did was focus my time and energy that I had available on one project. Focusing helps. You're not going to finish a project if you're too distracted by every other project you're doing. Pick one project to focus on at a time and then move on and knock out the other projects also, based on priority. In this case, the priority was poetry collection. So I did some research to try to get some ideas for some different options for organizing the poetry collection to figure out, okay, where did I go wrong and how can I fix it? What's my next step going to be? What's a way to do this that I wasn't sure about? I talk about some of the options that I came across in my video about organizing and formatting poetry collection, so be sure to check that out. Start with, I just took out all the dates that I had on the poems, the section titles, and read through, made some edits in the poems, figured out, okay, there's a couple poems that I like them, but they shouldn't be in the collection. It's a problem. And I just played around with it and moved them around based on what felt right and which poems I thought kind of went together or needed to not be next to each other for sure. I did what felt right, and then I read through it a few times and made some more changes, read it a little bit more, and finally felt really happy with the order that I had and the way that the whole collection felt and like the whole feel of it. And I was like, okay, this is really good. I'm really happy with this. I opened with a good poem. I closed with a good poem. And there's like poems in between that kind of connect it and make like this whole long, not really a real narrative, but like kind of a narrative feel. Like, okay, there's like ups and downs of the writing journey, and there's kind of ups and downs of like I know what to write, I don't know what to write, I'm like stuck, writer's block, all that stuff, like just organized it in a way that really made me happy with the final product. It took me like a week to do that, which was, it blew my mind that I was able to do that in such a short amount of time, that I just read like 2 articles on organizing a poetry collection and then played around with it for a week and it was good. If you're doing all the steps, including like the preparation of figuring out which poems of yours you're putting in the collection, that'll be a little bit different. It'll take a little bit longer. It didn't take me long to get the poems together in the first place. And then it took me a surprisingly short amount of time to organize them. I really thought it was going to take me the whole time I had to finish it, and I was ready sooner. The only reason it's not ready is because I ran into some issues with BookBaby and like had to resubmit proofs and got my proofs back and then realized they weren't right and had to fix some issues. So it took longer than expected. The next week I realized that I don't have the time right now in the amount of time that I'm trying to get this project done in. I don't have time to do the cover myself. First I asked Alexandra Wagner, who's a fellow Praxian in my cohort. I had seen her work during like the pre-program and during module 1, and I really liked her style and I thought she would do a really great job and be a great fit for my project. And so I asked her if she would work with me, and she was like, yeah, that would be cool, I would love to. And so then I told her when I needed it and she said she didn't have time. I was like, okay. Well, I asked Hannah Frankman if she knew anyone, and she suggested I post in like the general channel on Slack that we use. So I did. I made like an ask of, I'm looking for someone to help me with book cover and like organize some kind of payment. Like, you make me the book cover, I give you something. I worked with Jacob Beeman. I looked at his website where he sells t-shirts and some other clothing designs that he has. And I was like, okay, he has a couple here that I really like and kind of make me feel confident that he would be a good fit for this project and that he'll make something that I really like. So find someone whose work you love that is also excited about your project with you. He was cool, he jumped on it, he did a great job. I'm super happy with the final project I got. I told him, like, this is my idea, these are a couple images that kind of show what I'm thinking. And I gave him what I wanted on the back of the book and stuff, and he put the whole thing together on the template that BookBaby gave me for the cover, and he did a great job. So shout out to him. So in order to only make this take 2 weeks, when I thought it was going to be super impossible and it was going to take 2 weeks just to get the poetry collection in order, or longer, and that I wasn't even going to make the deadline and I was going to have issues with that, I did some research. I saw like, okay, just delete the headings, erase all implications of these sections that I made that I shouldn't have made, reorganize everything, just shuffle it all around and play with it and see what happens. Just do it, you know, like, forget doing it wrong, like just do something to get somewhere, see what's right, what's wrong for this collection. And so I just did that and jumped in, and then it actually wasn't nearly as hard as I had expected it to be. It seemed so difficult and so like insurmountable, and then it ended up being way easier than I thought it was. And so now I have a lot more confidence going into a different poetry collection I have planned. That's all it took. And then find an artist who can work with you and work with your deadlines and that you're excited to work with, and you ended up with a product you're really happy with. I can't wait to actually get the books though, to like really have them. So that's exciting. See you guys later. Have a good day.